Today I want to show you something that I've been playing around with for the last few months. It's a portable RO water filtration system. Now I want to show you some of the features, some pros and cons, and also how I've been using the unit. So before anyone starts freaking out and thinking that I've gone off and joined one of the biggest multi-level marketing water filter things, I won't say the name on YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about. Before anyone goes off and says I've joined that, no, definitely not. Absolutely have not joined that multi-level marketing scheme. But yes, this thing is a water filter. This is a completely different setup. And not only is it a completely different setup, it is a completely different technology. All right, so firstly, what is reverse osmosis? Reverse osmosis, or RO, is just a process of purifying water by pushing it through a special semi-permeable membrane or a filter that only allows water or H2O molecules to pass through and blocks other contaminants like chemicals, sediments, minerals, bacteria, and other impurities. The result that you're left with is clean, purified water that you can use for drinking, cooking, or any other use that you'd usually use clean water for. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna need some dirty water. So we'll take this bucket, fill it up with some dirty, muddy water, and then get back here and we'll get into all the details of the idle. Dirty enough. It's pretty cloudy. All right, so now that I'm back here with my big bucket of dirty, muddy water, I'm gonna let the idle do its thing and filter this water down to nice, clear drinking water. But while I do that, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the unit. So first things first, let's just get this thing set up. The unit is fairly easy in how it operates. There's an easy on-off button on the front of the panel, as well as a button to select either of the filters, the RO or the hybrid. You have an inlet port and an outlet port. The inlet port is a really simple screw-in design with a carbon block filter on the end of the hose. The outlet has two hoses, one marked your drinking water, now this is your RO or reverse osmosis water, and the other is classified by idle as wastewater. Now your wastewater is going to be somewhere comparable to the filtration that you can get through your tap at home. It's a simple carbon block filter that filters out sediments and impurities, but doesn't filter so far down as the RO process does. So let's get to testing the unit. I've chucked in the input and the output hoses. I've dropped the pre-filter into the bucket of water. Let's get this thing pumping and see what the result is in a clear glass. All right, so you guys can see, I've got my glass here, got my input hose running down into our bucket of water, which looks absolutely filthy and disgusting. I've got our drinking water hose right here going straight into our clean glass, and the wastewater hose, I'm actually going to run that back down and into the bucket just so we're not pouring wastewater all over the place. So it's almost going to double filter. Right, so let's get this thing started. Hit the on button, if I can find it over here. On. And there it goes. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that. It's actually really bloody quiet. It's a super quiet little machine. One thing that the idle does say in the instructions is don't ever pump this thing dry when the pre-filter is not already in water. Not many pumps actually do like being run dry, so that's just something to keep in mind. Now, in terms of pumping speed and flow rate, the spec sheets say that the unit will pump at about half a litre a minute, depending on the water temperature and the quality of water that you're pulling from, how much sediment's in there, that sort of thing. For me, I've actually found it to be a little bit slower than that, and I can usually fill about a 10-litre bucket in anywhere between 22 to 24 minutes. What's going on, guys? I'm editing this video on the idle unit now, and I've just remembered I've forgotten to put in the most important bit. If you are interested in buying one of these idle filtration units, then you can use the code ONA40. So ONA40, it's 40 bucks off at the checkout. So save yourself some money and use that code if you are gonna buy one of these things. Good on you guys. All right, the idol's done it. It's taken that dirty, filthy bucket of water and turned it into crisp, clean, clear drinking water. So you guys can see that. It's not that you can see any of the really bad nasties, the viruses and things like that on camera, but it's definitely a lot cleaner and clearer than what it came out of the bucket. Absolutely awesome. All right, so in terms of taste, it tastes like nothing. It actually tastes less than your tap water at home, which is always a good sign in my opinion. Most household tap waters out there are treated with things like chlorine and fluoride and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of chemicals that go into water treatment, and this is just simply filtered. It's just a really, really fine filter. So it tastes less than any taste that I've had at home. But that being said, I haven't done any sort of tests, water quality tests or anything like that, and I would be really interested to actually do one of them. So in the future, I probably will go and buy sort of a water quality tester and just see if that truly is turning that filthy water into RO water. Now, something to remember too, especially with RO, is that RO water doesn't just filter out your sediment and your viruses and bacteria, it also filters out minerals. So you are going to get a purified water that contains no minerals whatsoever. So in terms of long-term use, when it comes to RO or reverse osmosis water, it's still kind of up for debate whether RO water is beneficial or if you are missing out on nutrients that you really do need. I've never had a problem with it, but it is something for you to weigh up. In terms of how I use this thing and where I can see it being really handy is it comes into its own when you're on a longer trip, and I don't want to pack jerry can after jerry can full of water. So for me, I only run a 15 litre little side tank off the side of the tray on my ute, and this thing just lets me fill it up. If I park up next to a river or any sort of water system, I can fill my little 15 litre tank up day after day after day with no dramas at all. But I'd also be keen to find out what you guys reckon of the Itehil portable RO water filtration system. Let me know in the comments how you filter your water if you're on a longer trip.